liquor drowned my days. Now I'm taking my last ride. I paid the highest price you can pay. I'm on my way to Potter's Field. A pauper's grave is where I'll be, to rest until the end of time, for all eternity.
Welcome back to Lady Babylon Wednesday night Bible study. So fantastic to have you here tonight. Tonight we're going to just take a tiny whack at that fracture in space-time. We're just going to open it up a little bit. All a part of our campaign to storm the gates and take back the texts. That's right, we're taking it back. They belong to us now. Tonight, we're going to raise up a number of prophets. And I know when prophets come around and you get baptisms, we're going to start getting dirty. So there's a little bit of dirty material tonight. Fair warning. We are going to go to that place where we can get the wine of Sodom. Tonight on Lady Babylon. Some of you have come here thinking that Christ is the Messiah. It is not. The terms are not equivalent. One is a late term, and one is a term that was used for a millennia within mystery religions. One is a term that was invented to mask for another term. One is an original. Tonight, we're going to sort all that out, because remember, when it comes to the Christ is not the Messias. The Christ is not the Messias. The Christ is the Christos. And tonight, you get to see what the Christos is. I want to give you this video. We're going to start out, and I'm going to give this to you twice, once in the beginning, once in the end, specifically because the images are meant to penetrate. You are meant to be finding what is behind them. Chewy, hit it. And having been programmed, we can now proceed. I advise everybody to put their seats in the upright position and to buckle into your thronos. May the star guide you. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Bring up that first. You know what I'm going to do before we bring up the text? I'm going to call them out. I want to introduce you guys to somebody you have never met. You could not have met you could not have met this person. You could not have heard of this person. This person did not exist thanks to a cover up, a historical medieval cover up. Fantastic. A linguistic crime scene from the 10th century. Fantastic. Let's bring up our first text for tonight, please. This is everybody welcome. Everybody welcome, if you don't mind, for me, right? Blow that up, Chew. Who is this? This is Ambakum. Wait, what? Yeah, this is Ambakum. Who is that? Oh, he's somebody that you'll meet if you ever take a walk through the Papyri Graecae Magicae. Yeah, he's a prophet. He's a prophet. What does he sing? Look at this first line. Proseuche Ambakum tu prophetu meta oides curie. What is he doing? He is a prophet with his oides, with his oides. Bring me up this definition of the oides there. There we go, right? Oide. What is that oide? It's from oide. It's from oide in Greek. And if you just look, just peruse up and down it, look at what you sing, songs, and you sing. Look about 5 or 6 lines down. Starts out with id. Starts out with id. Look at that word, the first Greek word we see in there, iakos. 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 What are songs? As this tells you, because the people who worked on the Oxford and knew the Alice in Wonderland, they understood that the iakos is the song. These are prophets, prophetes. Every word I have given you is a native Greek word. Ambakum. 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 Now, Ambakum had his, we'll get to that. Thank you, Chewie. Ambakum had his identity stolen. Fortunately, his words weren't. We have them as evidence at this terrible linguistic crime scene. What is that iakos? What is that iakos? Pull that up. Alice, what are you going to tell me about iakos? Look, it's the mystic name of Dionysus. Remember, ladies and gents, Dionysus is found as early as the Linear B. Fantastic, right? Woo! And look at number. Just everybody take a little look at number 2 under A. It's a song in honor. Homustikos iakos. Yes, that's that song in honor of Dionysus. So somebody was asking somebody else about what are the shouts. I saw it on an interview. I don't remember what show it was. YouTube, right? And I saw it, and they didn't know what the shouts were. My goodness, if you don't know, look, people, come on. I know you guys are all listening to these people, right? It's not you, it's me too. But we're all listening to these people. We can't take some of them serious because they're full of lies. Whenever they get unprofessional and they start throwing around their Harvard credentials, you got to know you're about to get stuff full of lies. This episode is brought to you by the folks who dislike Harvard and Yale for the fact that they have so let us down. Yeah, you guys didn't read Aristeas, did you? He's a Cappadocian dude. You should have read him. Fantastic. Let's go back to the iakos. See what we've got there. Go down to, here. This is the good part. I get to get Moses here, right? Right. This is the 3rd century, and it's the first time that we've heard of the guy. But okay, here we go. Moses. I hear that you're a snake-loving guy. I hear you, snake loving guy. Moses, come forward. Oh, bring him up. Ooh, that fills me with chills to do that. Bring it up. Ek gar ampelus Sodomon. He ampelos auton. Kai he clematis auton ek Gomorras. Oh, let me just read this to you guys. I'm just going to turn on my translator. Right? Our ampelos, our vine, our grapevine is from the vine of Sodom. Yeah. Our cultivated vine is grown by the Gomorrans. I was a little bit fancy there. I tried to get on the grape cluster, right? The grape cluster is a bunch of grapes filled with hole. Hole. Oh, it's biting. Look at verse 33. Thumostrakonton oinos. Right. What is their wine? What is their wine? Their wine is the thumostrakonton. Bring it back up. It's the thumostrakonton. The thumos is that inner desire. The thumos is that breast, that heart, if you will, and that drive. And our drive is the drive of the dragon. Our wine brings us the drive of the dragon. Look at the next line. Bring me that same text back, Chewy. Fantastic. Bring that one up. Good. And what does the next part of the verse say? Kai thumos aspidon. And the drive aspidon. The drive of the asps. And then we get one little word dropped right there at the end, Moses, and you gave it to us so kindly. Aniatos. It's from the alpha privative I plus iao. To heal, or iaomai, to heal, to bring health, to apply drugs to bring health. This is the drive that is the unhealable or untreatable poison of the asp. Yeah. Take it down. What is Moses? Get his words off there. What is Moses telling us? What is Moses telling us? We're in a very strange world of snake venoms. You mean that substance that he's talking about is in the wine, and the wines are these wines of Sodom. Yes. You have missed a whole universe that was there. I'm going to take you even through the docks. Let's keep going. Moses. Thank you, Moses. Have a seat. Don't grab that staff. I'm not afraid of your staff. Fantastic. Where do you think you got that stuff anyway? Well, they say he was the student of Messias or Orpheus, or they were all students of Medea. Right? There is a world. There is a paradise where she is queen. Yeah, I can envision it. Bring us back. Next source. Bring it up. We're taking these Old Testament sources today. We're taking them. They belong to us, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, I want the next Greek. Bring me the next Greek source. We'll come back to those. Yeah. How about yeah. Okay, this is good enough. All right. And they put into the broma mu. They put into my food hule. Right? That choleogogic. Right? What is a choleogog? According to physicians, it's that stuff that purges your hole. Right? Whoa. What are they doing here? They put it into his food. And they did what? They epotisan, they watered. They liquefied. They gave me liquid. Right? They gave me the liquid for my thirst that was oxos. It was oxos. They gave you the oxos. Where is this from? Did we just dig somebody up? This is from the Psalms. From your Bible. right? And it's using the cult terminology, which of course it should be, because these are songs. These are songs, and songs are magic. Now, you're going to not understand that. You're not going to understand that the world is not made up of entertainers who sell their work and have it produced on a stage. And, oh, isn't that intelligent? That's not the world. The stage is a religious place of purification. We don't have your stupid entertainments. That's what we're doing here, right? You have to give the anthropology its day. Yeah, you have to give the anthropology its day with these texts. I'm telling you guys, I've worked with a lot of Greek and Roman texts, worked with a lot of them. There is always a context, a very human context. Those words are not coming from fairyland. Good. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit angry. Too much bad cop tonight. Too much bad cop. Bring us in. Here, let's go through some of these words that we skipped over here, Chewy. Yeah, hit that one. Look at that. Can you bring that down for me and blow it up? Fantastic. Toxicos, right? We've looked at this one once, guys, but I want you to just remind you. This has to do with the bow. Has to do with the bow and the equipment, right? Can be the one skilled, right? Right. So you can talk about the toxotatoi, those guys who were skilled in the bow, and by guys I mean male and female, right? Collectively, the bowmen, right? Toxotai, the bowmen of the Scythians were bow women. Isn't that nice? Love it. Keep that up. I need to see that some more. Look at number 2 though. Toxicon pharmacon. Now we're swimming in our area where we're comfortable, right? A poison for smearing arrows with, equaling the Latin venenum. You mean Venus and drugs are connected? Yes. Now you're starting to get it. Right? Hit me with another one of those toxic. Look at this. Toxares, furnished with a bow. Look at number 2. This one also equals toxicos. It also equals the same thing. But look at the end of the line. Toxicos psalmos. Wait, the twang of the bowstring. Psalms and songs and bowstrings are all connected. They're all connected in antiquity. You're dealing with the very same entity. You're dealing with the Titans. You say, what? The language, it makes sense. The translation, she doesn't. The Titans, those who stretch. Heraclitus understood that the universe was held in the tension. Isn't that amazing? That guy was smoking. The universe is held in tension. It is that tension that brings you the seed. It's that tension that brings you the seed. Start thinking like an ancient Greek. Not all of them. Yeah. Think like a pre-Socratic. Yeah. Fantastic. It is that tension, that stretching that brings the seed or the semen. It's that tension. Okay. I'm beginning to see Titans. Titans are those strainers. They are those powers that maintain that tension. Wow. Okay. I'm starting to see some things here. Starting to see some things. Okay. The songs. You don't get songs without tension. Wait, what? You can't produce a note without some form of that plucky tension, like a bow. You hear the bow, right? Let's make some harps and pluck. Let's make some harps and pluck. Yeah. Okay. So you can see where the mind is. Your neura that cause you to have that satyriasis. And for those of you who didn't sit in on the satyrs meeting, you won't get the right picture. But for those of you who are standing there, satyrs, with your Priapus, you have that tension because of that pharmacon, because of that toxicon pharmacon. That bow poison gives you the tension, brings the music. Oh, I see. Okay, if nothing else, these people are totally stoned. Right? Okay, fine, I get it. Bring us into the text. You're saying, I want to know where I'm going, right? Let me show you where we're going. This is lovely. And I thank you for your time tonight. Bring up that next text. Yeah. Oh, let's go to Job. Let's go to Job then, right? So we have our jugs of the wine of Sodom. We have our jugs, and we're about to see what happens when you get these jugs of wine, right? We kind of know because we saw the daughters. We saw the daughters there. Here are the girls, right? Let them do their thing. Spare the gents. Yep. Fantastic. You know where we are. Good. Bring up that verse again. Yeah. What? Okay. Ready? We're not with the people you think. We're with these ancient practitioners. This prophet, prophetes. Yeah. Here we go. Ean anabei es uranon aututadora. If a person's gifts ascend to the Uranos, yeah, and is thusia, the things that he burns in offering, right? If they're taken up, right, within the clouds. Do you know what the clouds are? The clouds are in reference to a cult ceremony. If I was given a paper, I'd be saying in ritu. The clouds are referring to the fumigations. Fantastic. These are prayers. Don't you remember when Abakum just came into the room? The one you guys will probably hear called Habakkuk or Habakkuk if you're an evangelical. You ever been preached to about Habakkuk? Abakum can tell you that the first thing offered is that prayer. That prayer is that incense in the nostrils of Zeus. Yeah, those prayers go up. They're oftentimes pictured as beautiful young daimones. Yeah, beautiful young demons. Yeah, beautiful young demons. Good name for a rock group, I think. Anyway, let's get back to it. Bring me up some more Greek. Let's give them some more Greek because we got a picture going. Yeah, and you won't be able, listen, you're not going to be able to get any help, right? Because there's this holy aspidos in your gut. Okay, when you're in the thick of it, in the right, and you're right there in the depth of it as the prophetes, as the prophet, you're not going to be able to just step out of it. You've got the poison on board. That's why you need the theriac. If you don't have the theriac, you're going to end up screaming about being thirsty on a cross, waiting to die from the toxin. Let's get back to it. Where's that naked boy? Wait, how long has it been? I got about 25 minutes this time before we got to the naked boy. Thanks for keeping track, everyone. By the way, we're going to have Neil come on here in just a minute, but let me wrap this all together. This is all the Bible I've been reading to you, all of it. Yeah. So you're not going to be able to get any help when this thing is inside of you because you've got the poison, right? That's the asp. Go to the next one, Chewy. That's the asp, right? But here's the entire passage. If you're so bent, right, on this evil that is under your tongue, right, you're going to hide it. You're going to hide it there. You're going to hide this poison right under your tongue. Something that hides poison right under its tongue. We are square with the serpents. These are the dracontes, right? You can be proud. To the person who was commenting about the order of the dragon and Vlad, right? Vlad, I see your Vlad, and I raise you, Marulus. Yes, and I say, look at the hymns of Marulus, the mercenary poet who fought with Vlad. This is the impaler. This isn't the modern Vlad of shame. This is Vlad the Impaler, the member of the Order of Dragons. Yeah, Order of the Dragon, baby. Yeah. Look at Marulus. He has it in his hymns. Very same cult. Very same cult. Yeah, fantastic. Love that comment, by the way. Go ahead. Yeah, bring us up. Let's see. Yeah, so you're gonna keep this thing in your mouth, right? You're never gonna turn away from it. You're addicted to this stuff, right? And you're gonna keep it there in the middle of your throat, and nothing is gonna help because that holy is in there. And what is that holy? That holy. Keep going down. Let's go to the next one. Whoops, I need to go down to here, I think. Let's check out. No, let's go back up to holy, please. Where's the holy? Oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is. Look at this, guys. Take a look. Take a look at number 4. Serpent's venom, right? Serpent's venom. And we get this reference to Job. We also get a reference in Apollodorus. Notice, by the way, at number 3, LXX, of course, is a Septuagint, right? It's a 70, right? And look at how bad the Masoretes do things. Are you ready? Hebrew rush, a poisonous plant, variously called hemlock and poppy. Okay, stop right there. That's how you know the original is not Hebrew, right? Variously translated as hemlock or poppy. Any ancient Roman or Greek would laugh at that. You know, the difference between hemlock and poppy is like incredible. If you were some monk, or you were some dude who was in a religious order, or if you were some dude who was part of an Orthodox order, you know what you would do? You wouldn't know the difference, and so you would throw them together in some garbage translation. That's what you're getting from the Masoretes. This text is not Hebrew. It is a very specific Greek, and they couldn't translate it, right? Julius Africanus is going up to the guys working on the Hebrew, and he says to him, he says, what are you doing? And this is Greek. You know what you're doing is back translating. The Hebrew text doesn't exist. Ask your scholars, he says, a question. Ask your Hebrew scholars what this word means. Just like it was one of the common trees. He says they don't know. Future conversation. They don't know. Right? Because they're speaking Greek. Hebrew has been dead for 400 years. Yeah. And they don't have the vocabulary anymore. Why? They didn't write anything down. They didn't write anything down. Wow. And you mean you thought this text, everything that I'm quoting to you tonight, you thought was Hebrew? Look how screwed up your perception would be if you put either opium or hemlock in that little thing. Boy, it's a good thing we're not magicians, or we'd be poisoning ourselves. Fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's just keep drilling. We've got a couple more, and we're going to jump to Neil. Yeah, go ahead. The end of that translation, the long one. I just want. Oh, there's another. There's a good one. Take down the Bible study so people can see this. Hoti theos aperipsen. Oh yeah, God totally bashed us, right? He ripped us a new one. Yeah, and he forced us to drink the holy. He forced us to drink the holy because we failed just in front of him, just in his presence. We failed. So what does he do? He gives us the poison. What does Hercules do with this stuff? What does Hercules do? Let's keep going. What does Hercules do? Yeah. Oh, look at that. This is somebody else. Look, people, where this is from. We're going now from the Septuagint to the New Testament. right? Hold on, you Bible scholars. I know. Hold on. I know you're not used to this because you're used to BSing the world. You're used to lying. Watch this. What they do, they gave him wine to drink with chole. Huh. With chole and mixed in. And some minutes when he tasted it, a thelesin bien. After he tasted it, he didn't want to drink it. He didn't want that wine of Sodom. He didn't want that. He's screaming, I'm thirsty. And in place of for my thirst, they give me the oxos. Now, thank goodness there's a physician and a medieval Zoroastrian fruitcake magician who tells us that the antidote, in his words, the antidote for the dipsass viper is called oxos. That's what they call it. Yeah. So it makes sense. So we're seeing in the Psalms about druggies getting wasted on venom so that a dude who is the Christos can then later sit on a cross and fulfill his mission as the Son of God. Right out of the myth, right out of the cult, right out of the history. Right out of the history. Yeah, right out of the history. Hit us with our last. I think we've got one more here. Boom. Yeah, hit us with that first one. Yeah. I wanted you guys to see this. I just want you to look at the last line. Look at the Eobolois. Yeah, Keras Halepas Apopempe. Send out. What does Hercules do with his bows? He dips them in the chole of the serpent. Right? He dips it. He's one of these guys who uses those poisons, right? And here it is within the hymn. This is not a document for us to, it's not a musical. It's not some kind of entertainment. It's a hymn meant to be sung during the performance of the mystery. Okay, give me the next one there. And then finally, we're down to Dioscorides, who's a physician. And Dioscorides is going to tell us. He's going to tell us what we can do with the oak and the acorns that come from and the oak galls that he's going to be talking about it. Yeah, he says they're uretic and they treat cephalalgia, headaches, and that they can be consumed or they can be breathed in. They can be breathed in. Pneumatusai. And we have some things that are helpful when someone is eating the iobola. Wait a minute. When someone's eating what? Yeah, when someone's eating that iobolos. Right? What is that iobolos? Wait, it means shooting arrows. Yeah. Shedding venom or venomous animals. Oh, I see. Look at number 2. Of arrows poisoned. And we get the Orphic hymn to Hercules. Notice what's poisoned. The hyma. That's that poison essence. That's that poison blood. Drink my blood. When Lady Babylon gives us the cup, right? When Lady Babylon gives us the cup, we are drinking that fatal blood that will put us into death so that she can resurrect us. That's the mystery of 1,200 years before Jesus is ever using the word Christ. It is not a Greek, it is not a Hebrew word. It is a native pre-Hebrew Greek concept. Think about that just for 1 minute. What I'm laying down tonight, Christos is pre-Hebrew cult Greek. Pre-Hebrew cult Greek. It is the state of an oracular child of God. The oistromania. is the state of the prophet. That is the Christos. That is the Christos. Okay. Okay. Let's look. There's one more. Did I have one more thing? Yeah, I had one more little thing. I just want you to see this little Apollodorus, just so you don't think I'm BSing you. The last word in that first line is the word that's used to baptize, right? This is just to dye or to cover with a liquid or a gel or a cream to cover something. Okay, so te chole tus oistus ebapsin. What did he do? He covered his arrows. He baptized his arrows. Te chole, in the chole. Okay, that's what he does. That's part. Look at the anthropology again. Second line, eisten cholen anabapte. He apibapte, excuse me. He's doing the same thing. He's dipping his aki. Whoops. His akitis akidas. There it is. He's dipping his projectiles, right? Akitis, akit. Yeah, right. Akitidos. That's a projectile. Something with a point comes from the root for point. Yeah, he's dipping them in what? In that chole again, right? It's a very specific use of a very specific drug from antiquity, and it is a cult drug. So when we find out the serpent has so many heads, Kephala, and we're talking about Revelation or Apocalypse, we're talking about that dragon with the heads. Realize what we're talking about. We're talking within cult about the communion. Fantastic. No problem. It's not a flying dragon. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but J.R. Tolkien is full of it, right? It's just kind of mythic masturbation with just a hint of Norse doo-doo, right? No offense to the Norse, your stuff is great, right? But wow, we're talking history, people. We're talking history. Lastly, there is a word in Greek that is the Greek representation. No, is the Greek representation of what you would call Messiah. And that word is Messias, right? There was a Greek word for it. Yeah. What happens when you make a Greek word for a Hebrew word and then claim that another Greek word is that same Hebrew word? You're only doing that because you have to fake it. You're doing that because you have to fake it, because you can't explain it. Christ is not Messias. They are not equivalents. Yeah. We have just been reading the text of a bunch of drug-using cultists, those who founded your society and your philosophy and everything about the tiny religions that sprang off as a result. Right? Judaism, Christianity, Islam are the offspring of this religion. Yeah. So we're going to start looking at these texts, and we're going to find every place where our Greek, where our pagan religion has been washed and whitewashed and sanitized so that you get a version of something that doesn't exist. I'm going to show you the real religion. I'm going to bring you to that onokentauron, that donkey phallus centaur who's going to teach you about the drugs. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for your time. I want to bring Neil on now. I'm sorry to short you, Neil, 10 minutes, and I want to have a little back and forth, maybe an interview. Neil, say hello. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me on. If I can just bring up a few things on what you said, because I couldn't agree more, and that was amazing. Well said. When we look at Genesis, first of all, there's no one citing this text. before the Ptolemaic times, before Alexandria. There's no one in Persia, no one in Babylon, no one in Greece, no one in Egypt ever mentioning Abraham or Moses or the Genesis story. You only start hearing people citing this text after the 4th century BCE. And it's like, what's going on here? Well, if you look at the court of Ptolemy Soter and his son, it's Demetrius Philarion, who comes from Athens. He's the successor of all the Socratic thinkers. He's the successor of Plato and Aristotle. He's bringing down all that knowledge to Alexandria. You got Berosus, the Chaldean, coming over here. Manetho, who's citing Hecataeus of Abdera, where you get your first Moses story. And then you have Callimachus, the hymn writer, who is using Bacchic chants like Hallelujah and Amen for pagan gods, but not for Yahweh or anything. So all of a sudden you're looking at this court of Alexandria, like, oh, I see what's going on here. They're putting together like a religion on steroids right now. That's what's happening. And so from the Greek perspective, it's all native. It's all fluid. It's like it all flows. You get terms like Decidemania, which means the religious feeling, that Bacchic revelry feeling, which gets translated into the fear of God. It means you have to fear God and be afraid of him. That's not what it means. It means fearing God, but it means the religious frenzy fearing of God. It's the religious feeling. It's that Bacchic mania. And so when it gets translated from Greek into Hebrew and then into English, or then into Latin, and then into English, I should say, you lose all the context. We have no idea what these people were talking about when you go back. And so the Greek side is where it gets crazy. Now, if I can, one last thing I want to do. I heard what you said about the Christos thing and the Oystermania thing. And I pulled out some sources if anyone wants to see. This is from Aeschylus, Prometheus Bound. So I'm going to share 3 screens real quick, and then that's it. Then I'm done. The first one, I want to show the Greek. So here it is right here. This is the Greek. You notice how this is from Prometheus Bound, Aeschylus, 566, right? It has you got your chants in the beginning, ya, oh, ah. Here's your first word, kriya. And then there's your oistros. So I'm going to click on this word right here, right? This is their kriya. Now, what does this mean? Now, check this out. This is going to blow your mind. Here's the real origins of what a Christ is. Okay? Creo. I clicked on that word. Here's what it gave me. Creo. Now we click on the LSJ. Rub, anoint, all that stuff. It's the anointed, right? But what's this one down here with the gadfly? That's odd. Well, turns out, if we go back to Aeschylus, this is where it comes from. So I'm going to share them. This is the last screen I'm going to share, and then I'll show the translation, actually. So if we go back to the Greek text, you see this word oistros, krio tis a metan talainan oistros. We click on this oistros, and what do we get? Well, let's switch my screen over to that word right now. I'll show you what I got here. Oistros, the gadfly. So what is this kriya gadfly phrase happening? What's happening here? Well, let's go to the English translation just to speed this up a little bit, because we could translate it ourselves, which we normally do. But just for the sake of time, let's just see what Alice has for the translation real quick. I'm going to go to the text, back to the text, reveal what this all means, and you get a gadfly, phantom of the earthborn, Argus, is stinging me again. To be stung by the gadfly is the creo. And this is the first time you see this show up, where there's a Christos or a creo in any text. It's a title. And in this case, Prometheus is being stung by the gadfly. He's becoming a Christos. There it is. We're just pulling out sources here. This is not our theories or what we think happened. This is the source. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Notice, Neil, that it's that gadfly sting that brings that madness, or what they called the Oystermania. If you just take that oestrus and you look up Oystermania, it'll tell you this is the state that you enter when you're prophesying under the influence of the oestrus.
Daesidemania. Then
Yeah.
that mania has that term
Right.
mania has to be in there.
Right. It's for prophets. It's for the prophets. It's what they used. We have a reference in Diodorus to the Christasa, the self-Christing of Medea, right? So when she enters that frenzy in order to do her thing, it's not odd to us that somebody was claiming a title of the one who is Christed. It's not odd at all to us. And it just makes great sense that he's in the shape that he is, screaming about his being thirsty and whatnot. It's the same presentation of symptoms. So yeah, I wanted people tonight, Neil. What did you think about reaching back into Abacum? He does talk about the soter, Abacum or Habakkuk. He talks about the soter, and he talks about the salvation, and we skipped over it, but he talks about the one who is that bringer, that great. It's the first one. Chewy, bring that up real quick. I need to show people. He is the one. Look at that. Look at that paragraph. That second paragraph there, Ryan. He's look at that first verb, orgistes. This is what Kurios is doing. He's entering that orgy in the rivers. He's entering that extreme satiric phase, that when your satyrian is kicked in and you're standing there with your erection, his thumos is in the waters, right? What is that word? Hormema. That's we get hormones from that, right? His impulse, his sexual drive is in that sea. Why do you think that where do you think that power of reproduction comes from, right? And what's funny is the next line says, right, this is all from what you call the Old Testament. He says he gets up on his horses, and his horsemanship is his salvation. Stop. If that's not a reference to the oystermaniac horse culture that is the kind of Black Sea Scythian culture, and there's one group in it, right? But the group that produces, that says, hey, we're going to change our identity, those Aryans, and they change their identity to Medes. This is that same horse culture that's spreading these drugs. And it is working in concert in the text with the purple trade as well. So we've got some things to start looking at. If we can, what do you think, Neil, about? I mean, this is an Old Testament prophet. How does all that strike you?
You mentioned how there was a paradise and Medea was the queen, and we can put it together through the primary sources. You can too, because you get Medea's venerated down in Egypt. She's venerated over in Italy. She's venerated, and then you got the Medes. Herodotus says that the Medes' own account of themselves that they used to be called Aryans until Medea came, and they changed their name to the Medes because of her. That's like there's a lot of sources to show that this stuff, there's historical layers happening here. It's not just fairy tale. Like this is some real Bronze Age history that's being baked into these texts. Maybe that's how they tell the stories. I don't know what's going on here, but like there's a layer of truth to this stuff.
There's an empire of the mind. You and I have talked a little bit about this. There's an empire of the mind, and I don't know which one of us first came up with the idea. It may have been you, and I just called it the empire of the mind. But there is a spread of a mental culture from some people would say all the way from India to the edge of Europe, right, with the oracles up in Brittany. Some people would say it goes all the way that far. When Pindar trots out his oracle of Medea and says that she was sitting on Thera, the island, as if she is governing the Mediterranean, she is telling people where their future generations will colonize. Isn't that weird? She's telling you in so many generations, your descendant, remind them, should go off to North Africa, build a city called X, worship their someone.
They were
right?
saying that the people that were living the Masagatai, which is probably another way to say Magog, or like the Eastern Scythians, Gog, Magog, or Masagatai, whatever. There's probably 100 different words to say it. But in this particular story, Cyrus is trying to go in there and say, "Hey, let me marry your queen," which he already has a bunch of other queens that he's married to for political reasons, so he can have their land, basically, so he can take their territory, use it as a trading port, whatever. And this queen was like hip to it. She's like, "Nah, we have no queen but Medea." So she ended up going to war with Cyrus, and she beat him. The Jewish Messiah, Cyrus, the only person in the whole Old Testament who gets called my Messiah, finds his end from a queen in the middle of nowhere who has no wealth, no power. He goes out in there thinking he's just going to conquer everything, and she ends up with his head in her hand, saying, and then she takes his head. This is what she does. This is a truth. This is in Herodotus. She takes his head, puts it in a vase of blood, and then says, "Now you'll never have to thirst for blood ever again." Whoa! And she said, "We have no queen but Medea. Get out of my land." Like that's badass. This is who we're talking about. We're talking about the world that no one ever talks about. But there's people there, and they were brilliant people too. Culture, very good, had very high culture and everything.
Yeah, Lady Babylon. It's something of history that we just it's better covered up. It makes us feel better now that we're part of these offshoots, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. It makes us feel better to kind of mop this up. I was jarring somebody's mind the other day. Tell me what you think about this, Neil, with the whole pirate thing, the Lestes, right? With that 2nd century pirate queen. That 2nd century pirate queen from across the sea there to on the east side of Italy. And she's Tuta, and she goes to war with the Romans. She's like, "Screw you! I don't want you're not going to come over here and tell me what to do. I'm the pirate queen." Well, they build a huge army, like the biggest they had up to that point, went over there and conquered. But people don't see that there behind the oracles is a whole system of power that is being exercised in antiquity. And if you don't understand what a pirate queen is, if you don't understand how you could take somebody, you could trade children, you could trade drugs, and you could promote the religion that drives your society, then you don't understand how the Bronze Age is put together, right? I mean, it's just it's amazing. I hope people can see. I hope people can see the big picture. Neil, was there anything else that stuck out tonight that you wanted just to comment on?
Yeah, the last thing I was going to say is what you're seeing happening in the final centuries leading up to the Common Era, the time of Jesus. You're seeing a bunch of nerds basically getting together and saying, "Well, we have this empire, whether it's the Macedonians or Romans, doesn't matter because they're both doing the same thing. They're trying to create this universal package of religion, wherein the Bronze Age had an understanding, or not even just the Bronze Age, the age leading up, the Iron Age leading up to Alexander's time, all that. But like they had an understanding that wherever you went, location wise, if you were in Cyprus, you honored Aphrodite. If you were in Athens, you honored Athena. And you had this regional thing happening where everything was there was a balance there. Then as soon as you start getting all these nerds getting together, trying to create these universal religions like Christianity and Judaism and Islam, it just seems like everything falls out of order. It seems like there's more chaos from this. It just seems like it's a failure to try that. You gotta let people have their own culture, it just seemed to work better that way.
It makes you think that maybe when they talk about civilization, and the value. Maybe it was something that they saw that they were building. There's a freedom in having libraries, for example. There's a freedom in having all sorts of temples where all sorts of religious practices can happen, right? The drive to make it the one. I mean, couldn't you put Neil Jesus and his apostles in that group of nerds that you're talking about?
Yeah.
So the drive to make it that one exclusive group tends to be explosive, naturally explosive. Yeah. Love it. Love it. I wish that we can reclaim in our searches. I hope that we can reclaim what that Christos really was. If we did, we could probably understand a lot better who Jesus was, why he was doing what he was doing, and why, most importantly, he was arrested in a public park at 4 a.m. with a naked kid. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Neil, I'll give you the last word. Thanks for coming tonight.
All right, I'll take the last word. The last thing one of the last things Jung says, Carl Jung, in his famous red book, it says, you need to recognize the multiplicity of the gods. You cannot unite them into one being. I was thinking about that. You gotta let there be a diverse culture. You're not just gonna unify them into one thing that you want. Let there be separations. Let there be diversity.
Look at the man pulling out the great cursed red book of Carl Jung. I love it. Where else can you guys get this? Neil, thanks for coming. And I do just want to say, by the way, that Neil's working on more videos. And I have to say, the last one that I saw, I was quite impressed with, Neil. I mean, you're rolling out blockbusters one after another. And I hope that
yours is coming soon too.
Can you tell the group just a minute about what it's about?
We're working on a video. He did the audio, and I'm doing the videos and editing, and it's about Medea.
So we'll premiere it sometime. We'll get it out there sometime.
Within this week, yeah.
And
within
it's
few days.
It's an honor to have been able to work with you on that, and I hope that we can bring Lady Babylon as forward as crisp as possible. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Chewy says thanks, and thanks to everybody for all the great positive comments that she's given. And you didn't know Chewy was a female, did you? Right. It's a secret.
I knew that. Oh, okay.
The audience didn't know.
Oh, the audience didn't know?
Yeah, now something's been revealed, right? Okay, fantastic. Now it makes sense, doesn't it? No, anyway, thank you for coming tonight, guys, and thank you for continuing to be a great audience. And hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
For all eternity, my poor old mother won't know where I am. Can't bring no flowers to me on Sunday. It's gonna break her heart.